So, you want to get into wildlife photography, but it's easy to get mixed up with everybody and see all these giant lenses that cost thousands of dollars easily and think, well, that's just not for me. It's impossible. I'm just going to take my simple point and shoot or DSLR and give up on that. But I'm here today to show you exactly how to get into wildlife photography for cheap, all the way up to spending a little bit of money, but still very affordable for everybody. First off, who am I? My name is Dylan. I'm a wildlife photographer in the Edmonton area. First up, let's go over the gear. So yes, you definitely can shoot wildlife with a phone. In fact, there's some great things to this phone. A, it's got zoom. You can identify animals, birds, anything like that. And B, what I like to do is there's an app on here. It's actually called eBird, and you can go through and actually identify them on here and keep track of them, almost like Pokemon. Think of it like Pokemon Snap. I don't know if you're maybe as old as I am, but when I was younger, I'd play this game on the N64, and you would identify the Pokemon with your camera, and it would keep a log, and you would beat the game on that. Anyways, that is a great way to track the wildlife that you actually are hunting for, especially birds. Now, your next setup is a cheap DSLR. You can use something like a Canon 40D, a T3i, something like that. It's going to cost you maybe $100-$150. It's a great entry point. It's going to get you way better photos than this phone. You can pair it up with kit lens like this. It's an 18-135 or a 55-250 for some extra range, and that will get you some beautiful photos that are perfect for beginners. I currently use a 70-300. It's pretty inexpensive. You can pick it up for probably about $150 to $200 in terms of like photography expenses. And I'm shooting right now on this Canon R10. It's an excellent setup. It's got animal eye tracking, so you can get all the wildlife with also pretty cheap lenses. All right, if you're liking the first couple tips so far, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Right now we're at 25 subscribers. I think it would be crazy if we were to hit 100. So please don't forget, click the button down below, and let's get back into some more tips. So we got our setup now. Now what? You're going to want to shoot in either one of two times. You're going to want to shoot early in the morning when the sun's just coming up. Try and get out maybe an hour earlier, half hour earlier, just to get yourself set up for the perfect moment, or right at the end of the day when the sun's going down. These are called the golden hours, and people talk about this all the time, but it's just the perfect time to get light to get some amazing photos. It's great shadows. It's very soft light, so it accentuates the pictures you're taking without getting too harsh. Now, with that being said, there are different types of wildlife that comes out at different times. Maybe the only time to get an owl, a certain type of owl, is in the evening. Or maybe some animals only come out during the daytime, bright daytime. You're gonna have to work with those kind of situations as you see what you want to photograph. Just keep in mind that when you're actually photographing the wildlife, that you are keeping in mind your camera settings. Your shutter speed has to be high. Your ISO, try and keep it low. You want to make sure that you're using, if you're really new to starting, you can go full auto, or you can go aperture priority mode, where it keeps your aperture as low as possible to get where you get blurry backgrounds with your subject and really make them pop. Next, let's talk about camera settings. Now, you can shoot in what's called JPEG, which is basically a photo that you don't really have to edit. You can tinker with it a little bit, but it doesn't keep very much settings because it is going to preset what the camera thinks is important, or your phone, and throw away the rest. Or you can shoot in compressed RAW or RAW. Now, these two settings are where your camera is getting the most amount of information from the photo. Think of it like you get the maximum amount of canvas to play with for your photograph. I personally shoot in compressed RAW. It gives you a little bit less data, but you can still edit it to make some beautiful photos. And for something like the Canon R10, when you're shooting compressed RAW, the buffer is a little better so you can shoot quick bursts without thinking that you're going to go over super quick. It's all up to what you decide you want to do. If you don't like editing photos, then shoot in JPEG. If you want to edit your photos a lot more, shoot in RAW or compressed RAW. And if you don't know how, I have a few videos I'll post up on here that you can actually go through, and it'll give you some tips how to get the most out of your photos. So we've talked about lighting, we've talked about how to shoot, and we've talked about gear, but we didn't talk about where to go shoot. Now that might be obvious. You think, well, go outside, but what does that really mean? So are you just gonna go start walking into the wilderness in hopes to try and find something? Maybe if you're a professional and you have a giant lens and you are up in a big perch where you can just wait all day for something to come, you might want to do that. But now, if you're on this video, you're new, so you're going to want to get the best photos possible. And the best way to do that is to go where animals actually are okay with humans. You see them all the time. Maybe you feed them, like chickadees, squirrels, animals like that. These are perfect to start shooting because wildlife photography is very hard in the sense that if you are taking photographs of people, they're going to stand and pose. You know, they might give you an angry face, or, you know, they won't want to be there, but they're not going to move. Animals are skittish. Even if they're used to people, they're going to still dart and move, and they're not going to get exactly where you want to be. You might have to get low to the ground. You're going to want to practice this all the time. I also have a video on composition that I'll put there if you want to take a look at that. But photographing animals, like I said, that are used to people and that are okay with people are excellent starting subjects. These are going to be what you want. Even taking pictures of pets, like cats and dogs of yours, or maybe a family member's, is a great place to start too. It gives you an idea of exactly how your camera or smartphone will track their eyes. Lastly, in my crash course for beginners, you're going to want to, like I was talking about before, go a little bit into composition. This is how you frame your picture, how everything's going to look. Now, with wildlife, you can control a couple things. You can control the background. So if you're taking a bird or any sort of animal that climbs up into a tree, you can take a look and say, the little branches everywhere, that's a horrible background because it's distracting and it takes the focus away from the animal and annoys the person looking at the photo. Or you can go to a nice blank background where there's just the sky, or maybe some greenery or some flowers, something like that, where you can control how your photo looks. Also, don't be afraid to get low to the ground. The lower you get, the more in eye level you can get with certain animals. And that gives a way more interesting shot than shooting maybe up high at them or down at them. That's how we normally see birds and animals. So try and go for more interesting or unique angles. But that is it for today. That's a very crash course, beginner friendly guide for shooting wildlife. I hope this helped you out a ton. If it did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.